Another day, another court ruling in the continuing saga that is Alabama's congressional redistricting. Today's chapter, a three-judge panel in the Northern District of Alabama has ruled that the state must abide by the congressional map drawn by a court in 2024, saying the one drawn by state lawmakers in 2023 was racially motivated. Now, if that all sounds familiar, it's because it is, because U.S. Supreme Court made a similar ruling and could see the issue in front of them again. Election or volleyball match? You could forgive someone for asking, as a panel of federal judges this morning said no. Alabama cannot use that 2023 congressional map drawn up by lawmakers and must stick to the one drawn by the courts back in 2024. That map allowed the creation of two minority-dominated congressional districts in Alabama instead of one, considered a key factor in the election of Mobile Shamari figures into Congress. Once again, this latest decision echoed a previous decision by the U.S. Supreme Court that the state-drawn 2023 map was racially inspired and therefore illegal. This latest spike from the courts came this morning, catching many politicos off guard.
Well, just now hearing it from y'all, late breaking news.
News we broke this morning to Alabama's Republican State Representative Margie Wilcox of Mobile. She was among the state legislators who just attended a special session in Montgomery that put the 2023 map back into play in an upcoming special congressional primary election, one that now also appears in doubt. And all of this comes after the recent primary election that saw votes in the local congressional primary election voided even before you were able to cast your vote. Have you got all that?
It is confusing. I think we saw that in some voter turnout because people are like, well, if this is not going to count, should I show up or not? So I think there is some confusion, but I do think that people on top of it, I wish we would have had the election because, like I said, splitting Mobile has been very disconcerting to a lot of citizens of Mobile.
But not everyone is disappointed.
My feelings right now is that I'm elated. I am glad that the judges did what I feel and what we feel as NAACP is the right thing at the right time and for the right reasons.
Robert Clopton is the director of the Mobile chapter of the NAACP. Today's decision once again upends the efforts by Alabama Republicans to redistrict Alabama's congressional districts more in their favor. He, too, laments recent low voter turnout, saying it hurts efforts to push back against the recent weakening of the 1964 Voting Rights Act. He hopes today's decision means the court-drawn map is once again in play and Figures will be able to retain his seat in Congress.
I do believe in the democratic process wholeheartedly. I believe in the Constitution and I believe in our country. The right is right, and everyone should have a voice when it comes to their representation.
Shortly after that interview, State Representative Wilcox told me that Alabama House Speaker Pro Tem Chris Pringle says the state will appeal this latest decision. There's a very good chance it could go to the Supreme Court. Quin Hillyer, we've had you on many times. He's a local conservative political analyst who has been watching this as closely as we have. This is that decision today, before we get into what can happen next. You kind of expected that, didn't you?
This is what I told you all on the air two other times in the last couple of weeks. Let me get this straight. I did not support or agree with the district court that broke up Mobile County. I did not agree with them. But what they ruled was what they ruled. And then the U.S. Supreme Court not only said that they were right at the time, but it specifically said we find absolutely no error in their fact-finding. And that fact-finding said that that 2023 map was drawn with racial intent. And so if the Supreme Court said that the legislature was wrong and that the court was right to say the legislature acted with racial intent, then that still stands because in the Louisiana decision, the Supreme Court said we are not overruling the Alabama case. Can you follow all that?
It is difficult, but because I've been writing these stories, I can imagine what it might be like for the folks out there.
Is can the public follow all that?
The big concern that we have with all of this is the confusion might keep people away from the polls. And we were going to have to vote again.
We're going to have to vote again. And that's why, look, again, I don't like it. I don't agree with where the district court came from. But what the law and the courts say is what the law and the courts say. And the only fair answer, as I keep saying, is to go ahead with the 2024 map in this election, let it play out through the courts, and if they want to change it for 2028 when everybody understands the rules. Don't jump to conclusions and don't take precipitous action.
And wouldn't that give time for another map to be drawn? I mean, more maps could be drawn that might be more favorable to the court.
Actually, this decision specifically says that the legislature can draw new maps. It just can't use the map that we already said was unconstitutional and that the Supreme Court agreed was unconstitutional.
Is the state legislature just being stubborn, you think?
The state legislature is being stubborn. They are also getting, I think, bad advice from the state attorney general, Steve Marshall.
Okay, and which brings a whole nother can of worms into this, because he is also running for office, and so we have this whole jambalaya of political mess that just turns voters off.
It turns voters off, and what you got to do is think, what is fair to the voter and what is fair to the candidates who have already campaigned? Okay. And what is fair to them is to go ahead and do this election by the 2024 maps that everybody already knows.
We'll see if your opinion holds any water with them and see what happens next. Of course, we'll probably have you back on the set to talk about this again, no doubt. Quin, thank you so much.
Very much.
Appreciate it very much. All right.